Everybody, welcome back to MUN in Minutes. My name is Tess, and today we're going to be talking about your preparation before a conference. So, what will you know beforehand? Well, you're going to know two key things before your conference starts that's going to be able to jumpstart your preparation. The first thing that you're going to know is your country, and the second thing that you're going to know is the either one or two topics that are likely to be discussed at your committee session. So here are the things that you should probably do before your GA committee begins. The first thing that you're going to want to do is read your background guide. Your background guide is information prepared by your chairs about the one or two topics you're going to be debating over the duration of your conference. Typically, they're going to be somewhat related. So let's use the hypothetical that the overall theme of the conference is addressing climate change. Topic A might be renewable energy, and topic B might be related to carbon neutrality. So they're very related, but slightly different angles on the same issue. Definitely read your background guide. Your chairs who are judging the conference are the ones who wrote it, and so they're going to have a really good idea of the information that you're going to need to be successful at your conference. And they're going to put all that information in your background guide. Also, it doesn't hurt to learn about your chairs. Get a good feel of the policies that they like and the policies that they don't like. It definitely doesn't hurt going into a conference to get a good feel of your chair's opinion on the topic. After you've read your background guide, after you've learned about your chairs, typically you'll receive some sort of letter from your chairs in the background guide as well that can help you with that. You're going to research your country's history and policy stance on the given topic. You want to be as specific as possible. When you pull up to your GA conference, you want to be able to brand your clauses, brand the information that you're sharing, brand all the stuff that you're talking about in speeches related to your country. So if your country is Panama and the topic is climate change, you want to know everything there is to know about Panama's stance on climate change, their historical stance on the issue, their current policy stance, and the measures that they're actively taking to address the issue of climate change. And you want to be able to know this information so well that you can effectively share it both verbally in speeches and be able to write it down in clauses. At some conferences, you're also going to be asked to write a position paper. This isn't true for all of them. On the high school level, most conferences are going to ask for a position paper. Don't sweat this because if you've already researched your country's history and policy stance, you're probably going to have all the information that you really need to write a good position paper. Position papers are typically only 1 to 2 pages, and the chair is simply going to ask you to write about your country's history and policy stance, which is information that you already should know slash have researched. And again, I cannot stress enough how much you shouldn't stress writing a position paper. If you think about the typical chair at your Model UN conference, oftentimes they're a busy college student or a high school student like yourself, and they have plenty of other things to be doing with their time than reading 50 position papers and like hardcore critiquing them. I've witnessed so many students get really, really stressed out about writing a position paper. And as someone who's been a chair on multiple occasions, I've never once read a position paper and critiqued tiny elements of a paper and then held those critiques against a specific delegation. It just doesn't happen. So use a position paper to show what you know, show that you've done research on the topic, but definitely don't stress about a position paper. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of MUN in Minutes. I hope you learned a little bit more about the prep work that you should be doing beforehand to be successful at your next Model UN conference.